fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you're working on and work alongside while I chat, or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. Today I'm working on one of my Michael's Make Market kits. I've already got a little bit done down here, as you can see. So let me zoom in to where I'm going to be working, and I will be right back. So let me start out with my life update, what's going on in my regular life. Had a few things going on. We bought a new dishwasher. Hubby finally decided that he'd had enough of the old one. He wanted a new one, and he was able to find one at a discount. It's a floor model that had a small scratch on it, which I couldn't even see. So he got it for almost half price, and he was so proud of himself. So we have a new dishwasher. He spent most of yesterday trying to get it installed. It had a leak, and he didn't test it before he had it all put in and put together. So then he had to take it apart and dry off. There's some sensor in it that detects when there's a leak, which is good. But he had to pull it all apart and test it all again and dry everything off and put it all back together. And then we had a running dishwasher. But it's super nice. It's got 3 racks. It's way quieter than our old one. The old one, it was hard to hear the television when you had it running. This one, I can even hardly hear it when it's running. It's amazing how those little things make a big difference sometimes. Speaking of little things, I was out driving. I had to go somewhere, I forget where, and I realized my brakes were squealing. We have discovered that when the brakes squeal, it's usually at a decibel level or a frequency that my husband cannot hear. So we ended up taking the car into the dealership and having them look at it. Sure enough, we needed new brakes on the rear, so we ended up having to put rear brakes and rotors on my car, which was an unexpected expense, but had to be done. And of course, hubby still couldn't hear it. They said the rear brakes were almost down to the metal, so they were pretty bad. Luckily, I was able to hear them, so we were able to get them done before they got any worse. And we've been dealing with tons and tons of construction. There's a bridge south of us that was supposed to close like 2 weeks ago, and so we've been driving around it. And then somebody else was like, oh no, they've postponed the closure for 2 weeks, so it won't be closed until tomorrow on Monday. So we've been taking the long way around for no reason, but it seems like everywhere you go there's construction. Like every single road, no matter where we're going or how we want to get there, there's construction. And the roads need it, but I guess the construction season is shorter here than it is in a lot of places because they start getting snow a lot earlier. It starts getting cold. Plus, like the last couple of days, they weren't able to work because we finally got some rain, which was very needed. I wish it would rain again, actually. We could use another couple of days of rain. I was also surprised to see we went to Walmart the other day and they already have all of their school supplies out for sale. But school doesn't start here until after Labor Day, so I was surprised they already had everything out for sale. It's not even August yet, but there were people out with their lists and everything shopping. I guess that's good, so you have time. You have a couple of months to try and get everything instead of trying to buy everything at one time. I remember going school shopping with my mom and putting everything on layaway so we could pick it up. And sometimes we'd have to take stuff back because we had grown over the summer and stuff that we bought at the beginning of the summer didn't fit. In addition to all the rain and everything here, it's been really kind of noisy and busy this weekend. There's a blues festival going on, so there's a lot of people walking around, a lot more traffic, people parking, bands playing until late into the night, so that's been fun. I don't have a copy of the schedule, so I don't know what all is going on, but this morning we got up and there were all kinds of cars parked on the street in the bike lane, and then people walking to down by the wharf, I'm assuming. But like 2 hours later, everybody was gone, so I don't know what was going on this morning, but apparently it didn't last very long. Really, that's pretty much it. The only other new things that I think I wanted to mention were I finished a canvas, which I'll talk about in a minute, but I cut off pieces of the sides of the fabric and I was trying to keep the dogs quiet, so I gave them to the dogs to chew on. They're actually really good dog toys. They don't rip or fray, or at least they haven't, and they haven't managed to chew through them yet, so I was kind of surprised. I'm like, I'm gonna have to remember that. Those make good dog toys. So if you're looking for an inexpensive dog toy, that might be something. Not if your dog eats things. Our dogs don't really eat things, they just chew on pieces of it and then spit it out. Anyway, and then on Saturday, Oscar was outside by himself for a while, which he does all the time, and he came in limping. So I don't know what he did to his paw, but he's hurt one of his poor little paws. So he's pretty pitiful limping around the house. Hopefully he just sprained it or something, doing something out there. Oh, I should go check and see if he was digging. That would be something he'd do, dig into something and hurt his paw. Dachshunds are for sure diggers, so I should go out and check that. He has been laying on his new dog bed though, so I think that's everything that I wanted to tell you about my regular life. This may be another short whip and chat this week. We are supposed to be going over to my niece-in-laws, I guess is how I would say it. My sister-in-law's daughter is in from out of town visiting. They're here on her summer break, and they rented a house, and she's invited everyone over for barbecue, so we're going over there for barbecue later. But I wanted to get some work done on this and get this filmed before we left, obviously. A little hard to film when we're at a barbecue. Although I suppose I could try. Taking all the equipment would be a pain in the butt. All right, so yeah, I think that's it for my regular life. Now, what's been going on in my diamond painting life? Well, you guys, if you missed yesterday's video, I finished the Christmas kit. So, yay! And I finished it before the end of July, so yay again. I thought that thing was going to take me forever. And there were days, like I said, where I sat down and my brain was just like, nope, can't deal with this today. And I would sit down and work on something else because all of the confetti and everything, my brain was just like, nope, not today, not today. But I'm glad I got it finished, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it turned out really well with all the extra ABs and fairy dust and everything that I added in. I think added a lot to it, and I'm super pleased with it. So I tried to get a cheap frame for it, just buy like a poster frame, but it's so big that it's heavy. The drills, just the amount of drills on it are heavy, and I didn't think the poster frame would hold it. Plus, poster frames are just made for posters, right? They're made for like just a thin image, like a photo, not for fabric, and so it didn't want to stay inside the frame, and I was afraid even if we got it inside there that it would fall out because it was so heavy. So I'm gonna bite the bullet and buy an actual decent sized frame for it, one that's a little better quality than what I could find at Walmart, one that's meant to be a frame for actual artwork, not just a photo. And then it can go live in the basement until it's time to decorate for Christmas. Sorry, I'm a little distracted. I just realized my husband is watching The Princess Bride, one of my all-time favorite movies. I love Peter Falk. He was funny as Columbo, but I love him even more as the grandfather in this. Anyway, diamond painting stuff. So I finished that kit, which meant that I could move on to other stuff. I'm still working on the Colosseum, but I've had days with that one too where my brain is like, not today. So I got one of these smaller Make Market Michaels kits out to work on those. It's been going okay. This one I'm not as happy with as I thought I would be. As many of you pointed out, I can't always multi-place. Around the edges, I can multi-place, but in here, in this section, it's not straight, so I can't really multi-place the way I would in a regular full drill kit. It would be okay if it was a partial and the blue didn't have to be diamond painted, I think, but no such luck with this one, so we'll see how far I get with this one. So I've been working on this one. I've also been working on the flamingo. I think the flamingo is going to go faster because I can multi-place on all of it. I wonder if I could go through this one and just do all of the colors and leave all of the blue until last, and then just fill it in as like an extra project or something. But I feel like if I did that, I'd never get it finished. I feel like it would go to get hung up and then I would just never get it out again, which is too bad because I like the image. Yeah, I don't know. I'm finding myself more and more willing as I get older to abandon projects that are just like, meh, rather than ones that I'm like, oh, like I'm really, really anxiously waiting for our water theme to start on August 1st because I really, really want to work on the mermaid kit that I have prepped for that. And I want to get prepped the little seahorse kit that I purchased from Mystical Dream Diamonds. Somebody pointed out that it's probably AI, and it might be. I don't know. I bought it because it was under their licensed art section, because I know a lot of their other stuff is AI. Sometimes it's hard to tell because real people use AI as well. And how do you know how much is a person and how much is the computer? Sometimes it's hard to know. Anyway, I think those are going to be the two kits that I'm going to do for the water theme, the little seahorse and the mermaid. I had another mermaid that I thought about doing, but it's much, much larger and it's square. So I thought, well, if I get both of the seahorse and the little mermaid done and I still have time, then maybe I'll work on the big mermaid. Who knows? I could make the big mermaid a September project. So I'm curious, how many of you have ever abandoned a project? Like, have you started a project like this and got into it and then just said, nope, this isn't for me? Do you put it aside thinking, oh, I'll come back to it later? Maybe it's just not for me right now. Have you put it aside and gone back to it and then still thought, oh, this isn't for me? What do you do with it, especially after you've already put some drills on it? I'm always curious what other people do, what the decision-making process is, how people's brains work. I should have gone into psychology, I guess. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to people watch, just sit and observe how people react. And I remember, I think I've told you guys this before, but for one of my psychology classes, one of our things was we had to get in an elevator and face the back. And then we had to observe what other people did. Like, if they got on with us, would they turn and face the back too? Would they just look at you like you were weird and face the front? It was about half and half when I did it. If I was the only person when they got on and I was facing the back, they'd face the same way. And then they'd turn around and get off when the doors opened. But if I wasn't the only person, then they would face the doors. Kind of funny, isn't it? That conformity is somehow built in sometimes. Anyway, wow, that's really off topic. I'm supposed to be talking about diamond painting. Anyway, yeah, I'm just curious how people treat kits where you decide maybe they're not for you anymore, whether they're open or not, whether they have drills or not. Like, I know a lot of people destash things if they're not open and they don't have drills laid. But if you've laid drills, I'm curious. Does that mean you now have time invested in it and you don't want to get rid of it? That sunk cost fallacy, well, I've already put so many hours in, I might as well finish it. Even if it's something you know that you won't hang up or display or give to somebody else or whatever. Yeah, leave me a comment down below and let me know in those situations. If you've ever been in that situation, if you've never been in that situation, that's another question. Is there anybody who's never bought a kit that they were like, I wish I hadn't bought that one? Because that would be interesting to me to know too. If there's some magical unicorn person out there who has loved every kit they've ever purchased. You didn't get caught up in all the FOMO and buying something just for the sake of buying. Somebody said that the other day, buying for buying's sake. And I thought, oh yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's just another way of saying FOMO, but buying it just to buy it because you think, I guess the FOMO is because you think it won't be there, and buying it to buy it is just so you can have it, I guess. As you can hear, the motorcycles are out in full force today. I wonder if they're having some sort of a car show or motorcycle show. Seems like there's always some sort of festival going on. Last weekend there was like some sort of hospitality festival going on. This weekend there's a blues festival. don't know if there's anything going on next weekend, but then the weekend after that, there's another festival. Lots of parties during the summer, I guess. I know the town that we used to live in only used to have one summer festival. Of course, it's a lot smaller. They would combine their summer festival with like a back to school kind of thing. Not how it works in small towns. All the parades are full of high school, middle school bands, cheerleaders, dance teams, all of the businesses in the community. I haven't been to a festival here to see how it's different. We did go to a rib festival, but the day that we went, it was raining, so they didn't really have anything going on. It wasn't just raining, it was pouring. They had a stage set up like they were going to have a festival, or live music, but nobody was performing. Oh, have you guys seen the newest weird diamond painting pen advertisement? Hubby was telling me that he saw it too. I saw it on Instagram, and it was somebody showing a diamond painting pen. You know, the ones we've all seen where you just dot, 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 and all of the gems just come out one at a time. This one was a little bit different. It didn't show you just dumping them all in the pen. It showed you actually loading them in the pen, like going over each one, dot, 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 to pick it up. And then after presumably it was full, dotting them onto the canvas. It actually looked like it might work. And I was really curious whether it was another scam. So I didn't click on the link in the Instagram ad, but I went to the website where it was advertised, and the product link that they gave did not work, didn't bring anything up. In fact, I got a 404 error, but the website existed. But as I was looking through search, trying just to read about it, the next like 3 hits directly underneath the website were from like Scam Alert, Beware, places like that. And one was the Better Business Bureau, where it got a 1 out of 10 rating, saying that it was a scam site. Has anybody else seen it? What did you think when you saw it? Like, my immediate thought was, is this a scam like the other one? But I told my husband, if anybody could figure out how to make one like that work, they'd be a bazillionaire, because everybody would want one. And you know, I could see the way they were showing it, like you'd somehow spring load it with drills. But then how do you make them come back out instead of just continually going up? I don't know. I'm curious if anybody else has seen it. Has anyone actually purchased one? Or is it a true scam and nobody's been able to get one for their money? It'd be amazing, especially for something like this, filling in all of this blue, just to be able to go dot, 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 load up the pen with however many, and then just, that would be amazing. So I finished all of those colors, or all that blue, so let me finish some of the rest of these. Yeah, I think this would have been better as a partial without all of the blue in between that you have to fill in, but that's okay. The square one that I got is a partial, so maybe I'll be happier with that one than this one. It's not too bad. Like, filling in that whole section while I was chatting with you guys wasn't nearly as tedious as when I was doing it over here and just sitting here talking to myself in my head while I did it. Maybe I just need to put on a book or a podcast or something so I have something else to think about while I'm doing it. And then I don't notice if it gets tedious. But I had to do that sometimes with the big Christmas kit. It was like, even on days that my brain was like, okay, there were times where it was like, ugh, more ABs. How many more ABs do I have to do? Why did I do this to myself? But then I would sit down and think, okay, just do one color at a time, get as far as I can, and if I decide I want to quit after that, I can. And usually I would just keep going. So sometimes you just got to power through, I guess. So is everybody set up for their projects for August? Because that's just around the corner. Also in August, I will start posting the polls for the Diamond Paint-alongs for our themes for next year. I can't wait to see what some of the ones you guys are going to pick are going to be. I think there's some really cute ones in there, so we'll see what the winners are, because sometimes you guys surprise me. And I'm trying not to do any repeats, so there won't be any repeats of anything that we did this year. I tried to pick things that would go with the theme, or with the month, if there was a theme for the month, like certain things for February, certain things for April, etc. except for October. I purposely tried to stay away from anything that was like Halloween themed for October. So we'll see what ends up winning for that one. Just because I feel like we always do that one. And I know people like to double dip for drills and chills, but I kind of wanted to do something different this year. So, or I guess next year, not this year. It seems crazy to think that we're almost in 2027. Well, I mean, we're over halfway through 2026, so it's not like it's just around the corner, but it's coming up fast, it seems like. I'm going to finish this last little leaf here, and then I think I'm going to call it quits for today. Yeah, I waited too late to film this, and we need to get going to go to our barbecue, so don't forget to leave me comments about whether you've ever abandoned a project, bought something that you thought later was like, why did I buy this? Or if you're that magical unicorn person who hasn't ever bought anything that they didn't finish. I bet there's at least one of you. All right, that's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around through this rambly video. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.